the biggest entrepreneur platform on the planet. This is Business Rockstars.
This is Business Rockstars. I'm Mark Lack, and joining us are two incredible entrepreneurs today. We have McBilly and Preston, the co-founders of Good Vibe Squad. Pleasure to have you on the show.
Great to be here.
Pleasure to be here, man.
So what is Good Vibe Squad? What do you guys do?
So Good Vibe Squad, we are a growth partner for mortgage loan originators.
Yeah, so that encompasses a lot. You know, we really take on all of their marketing needs so that they can focus on what they do best, which is origination, right? And we can totally go into the nitty gritty of what that is, but it's really about allowing them to stay in their zone of genius, not worrying about all of the, what's hot, what's not. We take care of all that for them so that they can just make money, help people.
One of the things we were talking about off camera was how you focus on a couple core things to really help them stand out. One of those is how to be unique, because there's so many people doing the same business.
Correct.
Can we touch on what are some of those key things besides being unique, and how do you help them do that?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you think about it, right now, most loan originators, unfortunately, they're commoditized. The current model right now, if you are a loan officer, the easiest way to grow your business would be to try to connect with real estate agents, to try to partner with them and try to get them as referral sources. But unfortunately, the real estate agent knows this. And so there's a lot of other loan officers that are, trying to go after me. So what is that differentiator? And the only way to really, to get that relationship is to gain leverage. And that is to go direct to consumer, get your own business, get those pre-approvals so you could actually have leverage to start the conversation and build that relationship so that you control the conversation.
It's about empowering the loan officer to actually show up, arrive, and be a valuable resource, right? Because normally they're going with cookies, muffins, cards. I mean, it's
that's the value they bring.
Right. And it's like any real estate agent worth mention can buy their own cookies and muffins. And so it's like, it's a kind gesture, but it's not a valuable business move. And it's an outdated concept, right? And so it's through creating that leverage that McBilly talked about, they're really flipping the script on the entire conversation, coming with value through those pre-approvals. And now they're able to go, hey, Mr. Miss Real Estate Agent, here's a blank check for 5, 10, 15,000. I want to have an actual relationship where I help put food on your table for your family and you help put food on my table for my family. So why don't we see how this works? I'm going to have a good faith effort here and put this in your hands. And I do expect some referrals back. And then let's see how we can, pour into each other. And it's a much different dynamic and energy than they're used to.
Right. So how are people actually going about doing that? I know you guys talk about this in the $1 Billion Mortgage Playbook and your lead magnet book here. So what are some of the first steps when you're working with somebody in this area? What are they doing?
Well, first you have to have the leverage, right? So this is why what we do works so well is we obviously help them with maximizing and using that leverage. But you really have to be the gatekeeper, because the problem is the old way that real estate has happened is the consumer goes, honey, let's go buy a house, right? And they get excited and they want to look at houses. Nobody's thinking about the logistics of, well, we should get our money together. We should figure out the financial outlook first. Mm-hmm. And so they go straight to the real estate agent, right? Now, that's not the logical approach to buying a house, but it's the emotional approach, right? People go, well, we need to look. Mm-hmm. Right. Well, for what? You don't know that you can get it yet.
Right.
So it's window shopping. Right. And so they go to the real estate agent first, and the consumer's so used to that process that it's ingrained in just the natural, your parents will tell you, we'll go find a real estate agent, right? It's like, well, not really, but that's just how it's always been done.
Right.
And so the real estate agent has all the leverage in the traditional model, and all a loan officer can do is the methods of, pandering or begging that we just went over, or they can do a co-marketing agreement where they just throw money at the real estate agent, but there's no guarantee they get anything back, because the real estate agent, if they're successful, they already have money. So you're just minimizing their overhead, right? And they already have other referral partners.
Right.
So it's still a commoditized relationship. And so by providing our clients with the resources necessary to be the first point of contact with those consumers, build that relationship, build that rapport, and then reverse the flow with the real estate agent where they're going, hey, I have a great real estate agent, Mr. Client. I'm going to connect you with Mark. You're going to love him. He's fantastic, and he's going to help you find the home that you want. Well, now I just made that real estate agent's life incredibly easy, right? Because I had the resources first, and I used those resources as an attraction mechanism with the real estate agent. And so that has been huge, right? Because it's not enough to just go to the real estate agents. It's an incomplete formula. You have to have something to provide them of value that's worth mention. And so by getting the resources, pre-approving and qualifying those buyers, getting them ready to a point where buying a house is actually on the table, and then handing them off, now we're building long-term relationships. Now we're building something that is reciprocal and everybody's winning.
Got it. And these are things that are covered in the $1 Billion Mortgage Playbook here?
Yeah, we definitely touched on those in that.
What is one of the biggest takeaways for somebody if they were to go through this and they're a loan originator?
So what I would say if you're a loan originator, one thing that we've really seen is it's not just the marketing component, right? It's not just the lead generation aspect, which we actually talk about here. And I know we'll dive deeper into this. But it's really, if we had to like really break it down, even with our own experience, it's three parts. Really, you have the marketing and lead generation. But you also need to build systems to support the lead inflow, right? Like have an actual sales process.
Yeah, so you actually follow up and you don't just generate leads.
You follow up and like nurture the leads, right? It's really important to build trust,
make sure
qualify them. And then really it's the coaching and the training on how do you convert those leads, right? Because it's actually kind of interesting right now. There's a stat that we go through. 70% of consumers right now make a buying decision before they even talk to the business. That's insane. Because, we know that we have smartphones and, we could easily Google someone, even like think about buying a burrito. I know we're in Hollywood right now. And if I wanted to buy a burrito, I would literally have I don't just walk into any place. I would, probably check Google first, right? And read the reviews, check that out. I want to make sure that I'm making the best decision for myself for a burrito. But, this is homes we're talking about. This is probably one of the biggest transaction value that people are going to be purchasing. So they really want to make sure that they are in a safe, they're making the right decision. And so it's really important to really build, and, most people don't even think about this, is to build your online reputation, right? Having the lead generation component and marketing in the front end, having these systems in place, but then also having the back end on your social media, being able to educate buyers. This is actually what we've done is we created a software called Loan More CRM. It's a proprietary software that we've created. It's going to have all the automations for the follow-ups that you were talking about, automated voicemails,
so copy
texting.
And paste, making it easy.
Actually, no, you don't even need to copy paste. We've built everything on our side. Our clients don't even need to think about it.
Well, and the important distinction there is McBilly and I have been doing copywriting for the greater part of a decade now, and we're massive students of the game. So we were able to take our experience and knowledge of the industry, the problems and the pain points of our clients, the loan officers, infuse that with our copywriting background and our copywriting team, because we have copywriters on staff, and collaborate to create a series. We have over 50 campaigns for our clients that come from the perspective of conversion as the ultimate goal. Most of the stuff that our clients have, they go, I already have a CRM. Yeah, but who wrote it?
Right.
Because it's one thing to have software, but you have a compliance person trying to claim that they're representing you for conversion. And so what we've done is similar to what we were talking about before we started shooting. Yeah. We have an incredible law firm that we work with to make sure that everything is top notch. That we're compliant for the industry, because we do things that require that legal work, and so we run everything to make sure that it's legally compliant through the lens of conversion. Right? We don't do it if it's not compliant, obviously. But we don't play with the gray area. We make sure that we're in the green. We make sure that it's good. But also, we want people to get excited about buying a house, because this is it's a life-changing thing if we can actually get them to make the decision and the commitment. So, being able to come at it from that copywriting direct response world that we've been in for so long, but understanding the needs of not only our clients but their clients. The campaigns that are in Loan More CRM are. It's impressive to watch how it helps our clients.
And for those people that are watching this, what exactly does that even mean? If you're thinking of creating like automations and copy, you want to put yourself at the perspective of whoever's receiving it, right? Right now, we are just we know that there's a lot of automated things going out, right? And so you want to write your copy. Yes, we're very, very strict on compliance. But the way you want to write this is you want to make it seem like it's not automated, right? Because think about how we're communicating online. We just want to talk to people. We see automated messages that are like super long and detailed and all these information. Well, I know that that's not you typing that, right? And so you just want to make it very conversational. You want the interaction. And as you get those conversations going, this is how you build trust. This is how you're able to build rapport. And this is how you start to really create that relationship and make that sale at the back end.
Love it. And clearly you guys are experts at everything that you're talking about here. But one of the things that I think is really cool about what you guys do is your mission. And I know you guys wanted to highlight that in this interview conversation here. So could you talk about that? Like,
sure.
Obviously you're helping, loan originators, but like, tell us more about the vision, because you said it's not just about helping people get clients and make more money. So spotlight that.
Yeah. So this was actually, we really got into this business because we had no other option. We just wanted a way to provide for our families. And so when we started to see financial success, we had to ask ourselves, we were actually in a mastermind in Florida in 2018, 2019.
Early 2019, yeah.
Early 2019. So we had to sit down, all right, we need to create a mission for Good Vibe Squad, but we didn't want to just create just a mission, right? And for, other people that are watching this and maybe you haven't done this before, it might sound woo-woo here, but it's really important that you are clear on what you want to do, right? Like why are you doing this in the first place? And so we really had to sit down and like, hey, what is our mission? Why are we doing what we're doing? And, it's easy for us to say we only work with mortgage loan originators. It's easy for us to say like, our mission is to help loan officers. But that to be honest, like that's not gonna really excite me every day, right?
Right.
So we really had to break it down. All right, as we help loan originators, who are we truly helping? And that's the families that our clients help. And so our mission at Good Vibe Squad is to help local communities by empowering lenders to take control of their lives. And this is something that we can really, with integrity, say that we're really passionate about. Because, and this is interesting, not a lot of people even think about this. One of the biggest factors in a family's financial future is their zip code, right? Think about that. Think about, if wherever you grew up, and I really understand this to the core because I was born and raised in a third world country. And, for me to be, I moved here right before I turned 21. And, that was a huge transition for me because I had to start from scratch. My first job here, I was working at Lowe's, pushing carts in the parking lot. But I knew that moving from that situation to the United States allowed me more opportunities, allowed better education, allowed better network of people. Just having that and having our clients do that for their clients, to families, take them out of apartment complexes, bring them to like safer neighborhoods, better education. These are the things, this is why we do what we do at Good Vibe Squad.
Yeah, I had a conversation with a client the other day, and it's empowering actually. We have in Slack, you know what Slack is?
Yeah.
So we have a wins channel in our Slack, and we have about 50 people on our team now. Whenever any of us, and it's constantly just rolling, when any of us talk to a client that's helping somebody, that's having a win, right? We celebrate that internally because it really is like, it's the flag that we raise. And we were having a conversation with a client the other day, and she just felt so grateful and empowered is the right word. She was just helping a family where it was a younger couple, late 30s, early 40s. They had some young kids, and the husband and wife, the husband was disabled. So all of the income responsibility was placed on the wife. And not only did they have two of their own kids, there was some sort of family tragedy that just happened, and they had adopted 4 other people in their family. And our client was able to take this family of what was a family of 4 that just recently became a family of 8 that was living in a 2-bedroom apartment. She was able to help them. And this was not an easy deal for her, right? I mean, this is obviously their financial situation was complex. But she worked her butt off for that. But she was able to make it happen. And knowing, like seeing the impact of that, being able to take this family in a really dire situation, I mean, for all intents and purposes, and put them into a safe home, a good home, with more bedrooms, more bathrooms, like a comfortable home. It just hits different. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
we're still helping loan officers, and obviously that's some level exciting. But to see the impact that it makes in these communities and the individual families and the change in their lifestyle over the course of bloodlines. I mean, we didn't just affect that husband and wife, we affected their kids, potentially grandkids.
Right.
I mean, that's huge. That carries on to generations.
I love that you guys have taken something simple like, just the job of being a loan officer and how you guys help them and given it so much more meaning and kind of the ripple down effect, like you just said, of families and children. I love how you guys talked about that. Let's shift gears. I wanted to know, how did you guys even come together? Like, did you always know, I mean, maybe not from where you grew up, that you were going to move to America, that you wanted to be an entrepreneur, and how did you guys come together?
We actually met in the ClickFunnels Facebook group.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, with just a
Wow.
Q&A, and there was a post, there were comments, and they were just back and forth. But I think before we go into where we met, I think our backstories are an important context. So why don't you talk about
You already alluded to yours.
Yeah. I already talked about a little bit on, so I'm a first generation immigrant. I moved here in the United States. My parents are separated. So I pretty much grew up with my mom in the Philippines. And so, really the main reason why I moved here was first, I really wanted to reconnect with my dad. He gave me the opportunity to, immigrate here and to get a green card. And, for other people who might not be aware, it's very hard to be able to get a green card and immigrate here in the United States. And so, that opportunity really gave me, and that's why I feel, we both feel very passionate about this because, we experienced it ourselves. And, when I moved here, I was just going after the opportunities that was in front of me. I started like doing odd jobs here and there. But I got to a point where I was working because I wanted to provide for my family. I was working two jobs. Bro. So I would actually work at the pathology lab from 3 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. Right. This is my first full-time job working at pathology lab. And then I would drive from that first job to the second one at the hospital working at the blood bank department from 12 midnight to 8 a.m. Okay, so this was insane. Oh my God, like it was a crazy experience. But to me, I was just doing what was in front of me, right? And that was what the opportunity was for me at that point. But there was one moment I remember. This is back in New York, winter time. I was driving from the first job to the other. I haven't really slept that much, very groggy. And winter time, I was driving, and the car in front of me suddenly stopped. And so I hit the brake, but then I still kept moving. Apparently I hit black ice. And so I'm about to hit this car right in front of me. And I'm it just my life flashed before me. And I'm oh my God, this is it. And good thing I was able to go to the other lane. There wasn't any car there. So or else I really would have gone into an accident. But at that point, it really solidified on me, McBilly, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? And so at that point, it just made me realize, after that, I quit my job the next week, the first job. And then after 2 weeks, I quit the second job to really pursue something that I want. I really took control. Hey, this is a moment for me. Let me take control of what I want and let me live by my rules.
I love that. And so did you get into a car accident and that's how you became an entrepreneur?
So it's funny because we joke that we were both struggling on other ends of
You were the car that he was about to slide into.
Well, no, we were struggling on other ends of the needle. So he was struggling through this pathology lab, blood bank kind of thing. At this phase, at the same time he was going through all this, I was, and we're on separate ends of the country, by the way. He was in New York. I was in Washington State. So, we probably shouldn't have crossed paths. It's just awesome that we did. And so I was in Washington. I was leaving a franchise that I had my own, company of, and I was going to create my own independent within this industry. And the franchise didn't really like that. There was one of the higher ups in the company. I had great immediate support. My district manager is amazing. But there are some higher ups in the company that made that transition harder than it was supposed to be, right? I was supposed to have 3 months where I couldn't do business, which is a fair non-compete. But it was essentially litigation was put on the table if I did anything, and they drugged that process out for 9 months. So I had been trying to build this business that I couldn't launch. I couldn't actually generate income through. And this is how I'd been generating income my whole life. This is what I was trained to do. So I was at a position where, okay, I was spending a lot of my time building the brand assets for this soon to launch company. Didn't know when, but soon. And through that process, it got to a point where I had enough runway for 3 months. I did not have enough runway for 9 months. So my girlfriend and I would go to the plasma center twice a week, and we would donate 2 liters of blood, $25 a pop, to be able to get gas money, to go to the food bank, to put food on the table. And we did that for, I'd say about 6, 7, 8 months. Because obviously I had to span the last 6 months of that, transition. And then I still had to get to a point where I could self-sustain. So we were living off the plasma center and the food bank for a greater part of a year. And I remember one day towards the end of that, we came home from the plasma center and the food bank, and there was a blue door hanger on the front door from the power company. And it said, we had 48 hours to pay $680 or they were going to cut the power off, right? We had a little kid, the food bank only works if you got a refrigeration system, right? So I was like, well, I have to do something. Like I can't sell it. I literally have to sell all 8 liters of my blood to get enough money to pay the power company. So I didn't have the time to play that game. I couldn't make income. I had to do something completely radical, Hail Mary. And I had been, 7 liters a month got me this marketing course that I'd been paying to be able to learn how to market my own business, right? And I had been getting confident. I had been getting good at lead generation. And so I was like, hun, I think what we need to do, let's just put together a list. There's a ton of real estate agents. We could easily put together a list. We managed pretty quickly to get 4,800 real estate agents together on this list. And I mean, this was cold email. So this is not, this is not for the faint of heart. But we did a cold email campaign. Lots of negativity came back from that, as you can imagine. But one guy out of Tacoma, Washington ended up hiring me for $750 a month to create ads, build landing pages, lead generation. And bless his soul, he paid me soon enough to where the money hit my bank 2 hours before they were going to cut the power off. And so it was $680 paid. I had about $70, $80 left over. I filled the gas tank. I got a little bit of food, and something in my brain clicked in that moment where I was like, I liked the industry I was in, but I knew in my heart that marketing, this is it. This is actually this. I had to be pushed to that extreme to take the leap, take the risk to create this business. And so that was honestly the beginning of my journey in marketing. And not shortly after there, it was pretty quick. We were both in ClickFunnels. He was trying to do his own agency in New York, right? I was trying to do my own agency in Washington. And I had kind of struggled through, as most early marketers do, what niche should I serve, right? I'd started with insurance, but that was crazy because they're not paid enough commission. And that was the industry I came from. They're not paid enough commission on most deals to warrant hiring marketing, right? And so they're in this weird, they have to farm. They have to get dozens of deals every month to justify expenses. Yeah. Real estate was the complete opposite of that, right? They're whale hunting where insurance was fishing. And I didn't like how everything hinged on this one deal, right? And so both of those were very high maintenance. But in the middle, I kind of discovered this the loan officers, they're great because they have to have a pipeline, right? So it's justifiable for them to have a strong marketer. But they're also paid well for each deal, right? So it's kind of the sweet spot. And so I had started pursuing working with loan officers. I wasn't doing this for very long, but I saw a post he was on in ClickFunnels group, and they were talking about real estate agents, and I was like, bro, fall back. I've made that mistake. Because it's actually funny. The first thing I did in marketing after this, makeshift campaign, I created a course, and it was actually a lot of good, valuable content. And I was just like, you know what? For this first month, $50 a month for you to get into this course. I'll teach you lead generation. I'll hop on weekly calls with you. I was just trying to build a reputation and a name. Right. And part of that is, I want my bills to be paid, but you got to earn your stripes in the marketing world, right? So I was willing to earn my stripes. Well, within 30 days, I had close to 100 clients. Within 30 days, I had a 70% bounce rate for insufficient funds on a $50 product. And I was like, I went from a marketing agency to a collection agency overnight. And I didn't care to collect on $50.
Right.
Clearly, if they're not making that payment,
Right.
they got some stuff they got to sort out on their end. And I know that struggle because I was just going through that myself. So I was like,
You're
okay.
I'm going to show you the blood bank.
Here's where you can go to donate. Yeah, that's my course. So you know.
You have an affiliate coupon code.
Yeah, for every liter I get $3.
Yeah.
No, so at that point I was like, I don't want to do real estate. I'm sure there's plenty of places to help and make an impact, but it just didn't feel right for me. So I had told him on this, he was kind of having problems working with real estate agents. And I was like, bro, fall back. Yeah. There's a better world in the mortgage space.
Yeah.
And we just started riffing off of each other. You know, he was really tech focused. I was really sales and people focused. And we both got good through the process. Like I had to learn to get good at lead generation and the technical side of that, building the funnels and the email campaigns and all that. Writing was natural, but the creation of the campaigns was not, right?
Yeah.
And he kind of came from the opposite. He had learned the writing, he had learned the people skills, the selling, but he was like genius at the technology. And so we had both kind of learned to walk with a crutch in each other's world, but we just found this like synergetic, like, why don't we just let each other?
That's how most companies get really big is you find two partners with, you know, synergistic but supplemental things. So like the opposite, finance, marketing, et cetera. And by the way, you guys have incredible stories.
Appreciate
you know,
it,
we were chatting outside and I didn't know the depth. You never know somebody's true story. So I appreciate you guys for sharing that.
Yeah,
obviously you fit the mold of so many people who've sat here that are super successful where they came from adversity, they came from struggle and overcame it. And so I admire you guys for
I think that's why our mission hits for us.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like we both came from a version of poverty, very different. But, you know, I used to joke, I mean, my parents worked their ass off when I was a kid, but we used to, you know, have hamburger helper without the hamburger. So I like to say we just had helper, right? And it's like, they were trying to figure out how to get by and just keep their kids alive. And he had his own, you know, single mom, like just trying to get these kids raised into men and women. And it was, you know, it's like we both came from that. So it's like we were the leads that weren't getting the service they needed. We were the kids in the apartment complexes. We were the people that needed that loan officer but didn't know how to connect with them.
Right. Now you get to reach back. And
now we get to actually help the people that were where we were. Right. And so that's like for us, that's powerful.
I love that. So as we transition towards the end here with maybe a couple more questions, what's one of the things, if there was a loan officer watching right now, what would you guys want to say to them as we come to a wrap here?
Sure. So one thing that we really help our clients with is this understanding of, hey, there's actually 3 ways to grow a business, and you know there's 3 ways, right? So the first way is to just get more sales. So basically, just sell more customers. Now, most people focus on this, which is to loan officers that would just be more purchase deals or more refinance deals, right? But there's also a second and third way. So the second way is to increase your transaction volume, meaning more transactions per customer, right? So and
upsells, downsells,
upsells, downsells, cross-sells.
The checkout at the grocery store, 100%. You grab the candy bars.
Yeah, exactly.
So increase the average order value.
And you deal with entrepreneurs from all walks, right? So loan officers are not unique in this sense. It's like whether it's a car, a house, it doesn't matter. We're selling products, right?
85-90% of businesses are based on similar core concepts.
Yes.
Which is why all businesses can grow in those 3 ways. So, you know, increase their sales, increase the volume or average order value.
Correct. And then the actual the volume, but also the transaction numbers, right? Now, the reason why this is important because, you know, again, this applies to all business. Doesn't matter if you're a loan officer, you're a plumber, you're a restaurant. Like this applies to literally all business. But the thing is, what we've seen is most people focus on the sexy, and the sexy is just get more sales.
Right.
But you know,
new customer.
Yeah. New customers.
But out of those 3 categories, we all know that's the hardest one to do.
Yeah.
The hardest thing to do is go get a complete total stranger to buy from you for the first time. It's easier to get somebody who's already bought from you to buy again.
But it's often neglected.
Right.
Right. All the pressure,
especially in real estate. Once the one transaction's done, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing too, what we've seen is it's also the comp plan, your compensation plan. Like this is something that most loan officers don't even think about, or even if you're a business owner, have you even considered this? Hey, what is your compensation plan? What is your pricing, right? Because if you want to really, to get at scale, it's all about math, right? You just, you know, we were talking about this earlier. Yeah. You just need to understand, hey, what is your cost to acquire a customer versus your actual expense? And then obviously that that gives you the profit. And most loan officers, they didn't even think about the compensation plan. We would talk to some people and they would be.
I mean, there's people that are paid, they're paid on what's called basis points. So 100 basis points is 1%, right? I was on a call with a guy the other day and he was 35 basis points plus salary. He literally can't afford to hire us. You can't afford to grow. Well, we have clients that are at 275 basis points. Well,
big difference.
Do you want the safety net of the salary or do you want the money?
Right. It's like a salesperson who gets salary versus commission.
Right. Yes.
Right.
And any good salesperson wants commission.
Well, and here's the benefit too. There's a lot of leverage to, and a lot of people overlook this. So it's like if you're watching this and you're like, I need to make more money. Yeah, you might need leads. You might. But you also just might need to be paid appropriately. You might not be valued at what you're actually worth. And that is an important consideration because there's a lot of opportunities in the mortgage space. But this actually goes deeper because like Dan Kennedy says, there's absolutely no benefit to being the second cheapest in anything.
Right.
But there absolutely is to being the most expensive, right? So if your compensation plan has more basis points in it, if you need to go lower to win a deal, you can. Right, but you're not competing to be the cheapest, right?
It's a race to the bottom,
right? And nobody wants to be that. So not only are a lot of loan officers commoditized, they're a commodity to the bottom, and it's like that's not a winning formula. This is one of the reasons why real estate is the second highest propensity of depression in any industry, second to inner city bus drivers. And I think that's an important statistic. It's like, if you don't want to do that, stop being a commodity and stop racing to the bottom.
Well, before we go any further, as we come to a wrap here, I know you guys help people with all this. And that's the perfect way to end the interview is like, somebody's watching this. How do they raise their, compensation and all these other things that you guys help them with? How do they get more leads? How do you help them grow in those 3 different areas? These are all things that are covered, I'm sure, in this book, but also you guys help them do this. So where's the website? People are inspired by your story. They like your good vibe squad that you guys got going on here. Yep. So where can they connect with you? Where can they learn more? And I'm sure that website also is where they can get this book.
Absolutely. Yeah. So they can go onto goodvibesquad.com. You can get a copy of the book there. You can learn more about it. You can book a call. Really, this is the reason we created the book is some people want to do this themselves. And if that's the case, you don't want to hire us, then we want to at least empower you and provide you the resources to do the best you can. But there's plenty of people that see this and go, okay, well, they know what they're talking about. I just want to hire them, right? So whether this is to help you do this yourself or whether this is just the validation you needed to know that we're the right fit, get a copy of it. It's free on our website. It's called the $1 Billion Mortgage Playbook. We were actually joking. It's a little outdated now because we've actually helped our clients fund over $2 billion worth of loans.
So we'll put the $2 billion
with the $2 billion.
We're going to update this volume 2. So so that is www.goodvibesquad.com.
Yeah, and you can get the book. You can schedule a call. But really, this is what we're trying to do is help our clients stay in their zone of genius, which is helping people get into houses, fund loans, deal with the actual specifics and the technicalities of the mortgage world, right? And it's like every time they're worried about leads, every time they're worried about landing pages, every time they're worried about calendars and scheduling, and they're not spending time helping somebody, right? That's not the side of the business that they should be spending their time on if they want to be great. And so if you're a loan officer, you're tired of doing that, you're tired of doing anything other than helping people get into houses, we'd love to help you grow your business.
I love it. Well, head over to goodvibesquad.com, download this book. Appreciate you guys for coming on the show. Thanks so much for sharing your story.
Appreciate it so much, man.
Thanks, guys. This is Business Rockstars. I'm Mark Lack. If you want to watch more episodes like this, head over to businessrockstars.com.